forgot your can.
Oh,
This is Andre the Giant here, and I'm Hornswoggle, and we...
I don't know where this came from.
And this is, of course, Mid-Card Mana, Sam Keola, the Wrestling Connoisseur. We got over here Allison, the future world champ. I know. How rude. There you go. So he doesn't play with it. And then, of course...
I don't play well with others.
The loose cannon. So we're going to do a quick double...
Oh, shit.
Double review.
Go watch your
Wow.
show. Here, you need to drink your water.
A quick double review of Greatest Royal Rumble and Backlash. Both of which were interesting shows. They were interesting.
Interesting, like...
For Greatest Royal Rumble, I will say that I liked that the Deleter of Worlds finally won.
The Greatest Royal Rumble, I was fairly fine with. I like the Rumble itself.
The Rumble itself, for being so long, was great. I thought they did a really good job at setting up the whole big cast and Daniel Bryan thing.
That was good.
It was a little predictable, but I did like that Daniel Bryan got a chance to be the Iron Man of the match, break the record that was set by, of course, Rey Mysterio, who was also in the match.
Whoever booked the Rumble was like somebody who finally seems to have gotten it, or maybe they just totally pulled that one out of their ass and accidentally booked something good. Miracles do happen.
There was of course in some of the singles matches there was a pretty noticeable botch in Jinder Mahal versus Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, if it was from a different angle,
I
don't think we would have.
My dad, it was funny. My dad busted out laughing as soon as he saw it. He was like, "What a complete whiff!" And he's just cracked up. It was great. It was so good.
It's sad, but yeah, if the camera had been on like the other side of the ring,
it wouldn't have been as noticeable.
You wouldn't have been able to tell it that bad.
Yeah.
You would have thought, oh, well, Jeff just kind of caught him with the side.
Yeah, just like, clipped him.
You know,
but
what doesn't help is these commentary guys now. And a lot of times, like when Titus fell under the ring, Corey Graves loses it.
They made such a huge, huge deal about it.
Vince made a huge deal about it, so...
Yeah. They showed recaps of that 5 times. 3 of the 5 times were immediately after it happened.
Yeah.
2 of the times were just random times later in the match.
Apparently, Vince was literally on the floor crying because he was laughing so hard.
I believe it. That's the kind of thing that Vince would laugh really hard
Vince
at,
himself
honestly.
ordered replays, nothing but replays.
Oh, I'm absolutely certain that was 100% Vince McMahon.
So he's
not
he's in their ears too. So Corey apparently, who lost it anyway, they're just playing it up even more because Vince lost it and they can get by with anything at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the commentary crew does not lend itself to these situations as much anymore. Like in the old days with say Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross, or, more of a prestigious group of commentators.
I thought it was interesting.
Some of the botches were unfortunate.
Some of them had tried to justify it.
That's what made it the worst.
Yeah.
The ring, it's really giving.
It was just shook the legs right out from under Jinder Mahal.
It's don't even acknowledge it if that's the case.
Just move past it. Move past it.
It's just but it's at the same time I'm forgiving of that from the wrestlers because they just did a huge. They were in South Africa, they went to Missouri, and they went to Saudi Arabia in 4 days or something like that. It was just ridiculous.
It was pretty nuts.
So it's hey, I get it.
I can't imagine how exhausting it must have been, honestly.
Yeah. And you're in a different culture and different foods.
And I feel bad because a lot of people are just Jinder made the stupidest mistake by selling it. And I was like, one, how could he possibly have told what camera angle was going to be on him at that given point and what was going to be shown? He had no idea. He's working in the ring. 2, especially after so much, you've been doing this match 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
After a certain point, it's just muscle memory. You remember this is the sequence that you have to do.
Right. Even if something
misses in the sequence, you still remember this is the next thing you have to do. So sometimes your body's in autopilot at that point.
Not to mention, if you watch a lot of them, these producers, and I'm sure it comes straight down from Vince, but these producers, they're making these guys do these moves. Like, even if they miss a spot, you will see these guys get back and do that same move. And it looks ridiculous, but they force them to do it anyway.
When I think a lot of that has to do with half the time those moves are cues for certain things to happen, and it's unfortunate that they don't have the ability to adapt or change. And similarly, in an interesting comparison in the ladder match that had Samoa Joe, Miz, Balor, and Rollins, where you see Samoa Joe like misses a spot with the ladder, like falls or something. He immediately, without missing a beat, doesn't try to do the same thing, just adapts to it.
Just adapt.
And so I think that's also
a
different.
With some of these guys, like you take Baron Corbin,
of experience, and
your
stuff.
favorite Baron Corbin.
Oh my God, get out!
And
eat all of your popcorn.
If he have at it.
I don't even know. I just saw it.
If he misses a spot, they don't adapt. Baron Corbin goes right back to that
doing the same spot.
And it's like, okay, well, for one, you're going to lose at least like half a minute to a minute trying to
reset that spot.
And by that point, it's already blown. It's gone. You've taken everybody out of the match.
Well, not only that, but you take the momentum completely out. Because then, let's say I go and like, and I miss, and I'm just, instead of like trying to follow through and do something else, I go, wait, no, I have to do this again. This is a one take sort of thing. You only got one shot. This is live. It's like this is part of the reason why I love live theater so much, and that's why I do plays and stuff. You get one shot. You mess up, you just gotta move on.
Yeah.
You ain't got time to be like, wait, sorry, and try again.
Which is not what we do here all the time. Most of the time we do, but
we usually just let it go.
Sometimes
if it gets way off the rails, then we.
But yeah, Jinder could have just been like, whoa,
as I'm going to go grab your pair of scissors. See,
he could have just kind of like he dodged it, but Jinder's eyes wasn't on Jeff either. He was actually selling, and Jeff went for it. And I don't know if it was just like you talk about muscle memory or whatnot, and Jeff's so used to doing that move. If it was just like a botch on both their parts.
And unfortunately, Jinder caught more heat from it because he's the one that just went on and proceeded to sell it anyway.
Yeah.
Which I felt bad for him for because
it was just one of those things. I feel.
I like Jinder Mahal. I think he's doing
to be honest,
the best,
I probably
the best he can.
I probably would have just looked up like, what, and just started stomping the shit out of Jeff Hardy. Because you could always sell it on commentary as, oh, well, that is a blindsided move. Jeff Hardy goes up for it. He doesn't know where the other guy is when he's going to land.
Yeah.
And
so it's part of, and I mean, they even sort of fed into that when it happened. They're like, oh, it's the risk you take when you do that kind of thing.
Yeah. The vibrations, it shakes the other guy off his feet.
Yeah, it was much.
That's why Earthquake used to do that before he was on the show the other week.
Yeah, I saw.
You were there, kind of.
I know. That's what I mean. I saw that he stopped by.
You were like shaking on your cup.
Yeah.
The earthquake hit.
What do you mean cup? I was here.
He was on a cup. He was on a cup. You were sitting on a cup. That was your chair.
That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought the Greatest Royal Rumble itself was good. You had the big Daniel Bryan moment, which of course you had to have. They haven't had it in, well, obviously 3 years. But even before that, they kind of screwed Bryan out of stuff, and the fans were never happy with whoever come out at number 30, or if Bryan got tossed early, or who won the Rumble if it wasn't Bryan.
I'm trying
to
think.
Props to them.
When Mysterio came out at 30,
he got booed.
And then when Wyatt eliminated him.
And the fans were pissed when Mysterio came out at 30 that year. So Daniel made it to he was like the third to last.
Yeah, he was in the final four.
Yep. I don't know who was the final. Who was the other one before Bryan got eliminated? It was Cass, Bryan, Braun, and who?
Was it Dillinger? No, Corbin.
Corbin. That's why I couldn't remember it. So yeah, it was.
It's a Leviathan.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Anyway.
Go drink your water. Go. If you go away, I will give you an M&M.
Okay.
Oh my god.
She went away. I didn't even give it to her. No, here. I mean, if you want it. It's mint. It's mint.
The greatest. Anyway,
Bye.
since you're talking about the greatest Royal Rumble, how is the beautiful belt? Okay,
I thought it was great.
I did too, actually.
And Vince was like, he was ready to go home. You
Yeah.
can tell he just was not happy with what was going on. I don't know why. Maybe he laughed too hard and puked. He was out there and he was like, all right. And then the guy was like, and Braun was like, get these hands.
No, that was great. My mom loved that, actually. My mom was like, oh, he's so playful.
I think from what I've understood is that Vince wasn't happy that they brought a belt. But they had a belt made because Vince had just announced the trophy was all. And they've even taken it out of pictures and all kinds of things, like eliminated the belt from existence. Like that belt Chris Benoit somebody or something. Yeah.
Hilariously, though, that belt is still, in one piece, whereas that trophy got destroyed.
Right?
Wait.
Go.
I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, look at this. Some of these are. This of them got a booty.
It's the Big E of M&M's. I just ate Big E. I believe
Yeah.
it. Anyway, so that was our
That was a great Royal Rumble.
short little thing on Greatest Royal Rumble.
I know I bitch about WWE a lot. Their booking. The Rumble itself was great. Wish it had been that way at the actual Royal Rumble this year. Or last year. Or the year before that.
There's so many
In the last
missed
5 years.
opportunities.
The rest of the show wasn't spectacular. I thought we'd get quite a few title changes maybe, but we didn't. So it was what it was.
I think they tried more to keep a lot of status quo because they were already going to have a big moment as far as Braun Strowman winning for Greatest Royal Rumble.
Right.
And they were already kind of under a lot of
Well, apparently it was last minute decision.
heat.
Vince deciding to keep the belt on Brock at there. And
And of course, that controversial ending where first person who escapes the cage wins,
right.
which was Brock Lesnar. However, the first person whose both feet touched the ground was Roman Reigns. So
Which was, I don't know if that was a planned thing or screw up and they're just covering it or what. I have no idea. The night after, the promo sucked from Roman.
yeah,
He looked horrible, but
I mean, because what
was an
what
awful
more could
promo.
he say?
yeah.
What more could he do?
He could come out and be a big baby face and say, hey, I tried. And then Joe leave him in tears. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
That did not happen.
He was booed so bad, and he whined, and Joe come out to huge cheers.
And Reigns pretty much said the same thing that he's been saying. As long as there's a fight left in me, I will keep trying to fight Brock Lesnar until finally I wear him down, essentially.
You suck! Is basically what.
Yeah.
So, moving on, that match, Backlash.
So Backlash, let's look at the card in general for Backlash, actually. So Backlash started off with
Backlash.
an excellent dark match, but an excellent pre-show match of Bayley versus Ruby Riott. Probably one of the actually better wrestling matches on the card.
Yeah, really.
Of course, Ruby Riott and Bayley are very talented in the ring. They work really well together.
It was an interesting to see that they did that match at Backlash because this is the problem with the women's division. I don't want to get started on it heavily, but we see these matches quite often.
Yes.
And this was a match that, from what I remember, was just kind of thrown on at the last minute.
Yes.
There was no real storyline to it. There's no real meat to it. It's just also this is going to be on the show because there hasn't been any women on a pay-per-view at least in a while.
Yeah.
And while it was a good match, I did not feel there was anything special about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like they're really dropping the ball with the women's division, despite building themselves up that they're doing so much for the women's wrestling. And I would say they're promoting women's wrestling, but it's not.
They're so busy focusing on
Roman.
Well, I mean that too, but I mean as far as the women's evolution, women's revolution going, they're so busy focusing on. Let's look at all the ways that we can insert women into these matches: Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank. That they've completely lost focus of the actual talent in the group.
Yeah.
And they have some insanely talented people wrestling for them.
It's phenomenally crazy how much...
that they get so focused on individual things that they forget about everyone else.
And I don't know, it's just really ridiculous that there is that much talent, that the women's division is just so spread out, and we get the same matches all the time.
Over and over.
Without storylines. I mean, there's like far-reaching, long
and there's less consistency as far as it. So Natalya moved over to Raw and became a babyface.
Yeah, she was like the top heel in the entire division, really. All of a sudden, she's a babyface, friends with Ronda Rousey, and like I'm sure she is. You know, they've shown photos and stuff that they're such good friends from here and there. And maybe
she helped Rousey train and stuff. But
we have no backstory for that whatsoever. It's just thrown to us. So it's very odd writing.
It's a lack of consistency.
It is. Well, I mean, even the Nia Alexa storyline, which has been going on for like 3 years, off and on, something like that. I mean, it's
for quite some
nuts how off and on this storyline has been. Where it's on 1 week and then they say, no, let's back off of it. And it's on for a month and then they forget about it. And then Nia's gone. And then at the last minute, they're like, okay, we're going to do this. And then, so it is fast tracked. And it's all done in like a month. It's when you can't focus on your undercard as well as your main event, you have issues. And, I think this is just one of the symptoms of it. You know, suddenly you just have a match thrown on there because. So, which is a shame because Bayley and Ruby Riott they're both super talented. It could have been a great match.
And honestly, I mean,
the match itself was fine, but it could have been so much more if there was.
It could have been more meaningful
circumstances and something. I was waiting for Sasha to come out.
That's all you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take the green, actually. It's for the greatest Royal Rumble belt.
Oh, okay. If you turn it upside down, I guess it could be a W.
W-E.
W-E. Turn it sideways.
That's what he thinks about the WWE. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I was waiting for Sasha to come out, and something happened there to push the Sasha Bayley thing along.
Yeah.
It didn't really happen.
Yeah, it's just been... It's been an incredibly slow burn to the point where I think people are losing interest in it.
What? Can't imagine.
Who would have thought?
I don't know.
A couple other matches that happened in Backlash that were worthwhile. So, Seth Rollins versus The Miz. Well, it was probably
the best match.
The best match on the card.
It was. And that was early on, if not first.
That was the first match.
Yeah.
And I realized after a while, they're putting Rollins in the curtain openers and curtain warmers to get people in there faster.
Yeah, because it's sort of like that.
It was at this point that I realized
if you think about it. If you think about the old Nitros, Bischoff would have the more exciting matches go on first, which were the cruiserweights.
Mm-hmm.
And while that may sound like that's all of them. Oh, you're so lucky.
Thank you.
If you think about it, I mean, it's not a bad thing to say like the curtain jerkers for, because you had Rey Mysterio and Psychosis and Mr. JL and
I mean, there's the people that are gonna get the crowd
Liger,
hyped for the rest of the show.
Yeah,
But
and they
also
put on
these
a
are
great show. And got
these are
people
the
going.
these are the
Eddie,
matches
Chavo,
that
Malenko, Jericho. I mean, that was all those guys. I mean,
No.
the man of 1,010, 5, 4 holds 3, 1,004. I can't remember. And yeah, these guys got everything going. So the unfortunate thing is, like, you couldn't do that with like 205 guys now, but Rollins and Balor have name value, and
so
so they're
do the
both
Miz.
probably under 205. We know Balor is. Rollins might be questionable. Rollins is a small guy, really.
I think he's 220
They say 212.
build.
Everything I've read is build. Well, yeah,
212.
220, but he was 212. So I
When
don't
he was
know.
scrawnier in his NXT days.
Yeah, so 212 may be legit. I don't know. Me and John talk about this quite a bit. So
Or if you just
yeah,
dedicate that
it
much
was
time
probably
to
the
Seth Rollins.
best
Anyway,
match.
it was.
Don't lie about your shrine. We all know behind the Kenny Omega pictures, it's all Kobe looking.
That's disgusting. Actually, behind the Kenny Omega, it's all Kota Ibushi.
I'm so not gonna comment on that.
Do it. Come on.
Yeah,
I set you up for it. You have to.
you did just do it. Come on, that's what Kenny said.
Hey, thank you.
They are golden lovers.
And their twin triangle moonsaults are called Golden Shower.
No. Anyway, Kenny's like, his hair's different now. That
Yeah,
hair's backwards.
it's because he's he's a good guy again. So the true light is coming.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Anyway, we'll talk about that for
Yeah.
our Wrestling Don't Talk review.
Anyway, we say that a lot.
Anyway,
yeah, great
So-
opener, probably the best match of the show.
Yes.
Because you're built up and you're excited for the match. You're excited to see what you're going to see. You've got your hopes up still, even though you're you're not going to get what you want. And it's that moment of, kind of like the innocence moment. You get a good match.
Yeah.
And you haven't been brought down by the rest of the show yet.
that's true. But the next match wasn't necessarily that much of a breakdown, except for the promo afterwards. That was Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty solid. I was surprised it went so long.
Yeah, I think
Instead of
that's
having Alexa
that
just get
does-
stomped into the ground.
take away from things, I feel.
I
And
agree.
I noticed they've been trying to do that a lot with Nia. Really trying to make her look vulnerable now that she's getting the push. Which is ridiculous.
Why are you trying to
Saying that a
Daniel
lot,
Bryan
too.
her?
And
Doesn't work for everyone. It doesn't.
I know. It just doesn't. And
She needs to be given the Braun
She-
Strowman push where she
Yes.
just looks completely like a monster.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's Vince or the producer who was producing those matches. I don't know which one it is. But for whatever reason, they're like, Nia, go out there and work
Struggle.
like you're Bob Backlund. What? You kidding me?
Struggle. Just struggle a little bit.
So it is what it is. It was
what it was.
It was kind of predictable. The outcome, at least.
I did like the shoe
So-
on. I felt like her speech was a little long-winded,
Yeah, it's a little forced.
which I think made people feel or really realize how scripted it was.
I did feel very scripted. So yeah, it wasn't an awful match.
Not at all.
But I think it was a bit of a downer because it went so long.
And
the
also went
scripted
right
speech.
after.
And after
best match.
you're all like hyped up, like Mojo, You're all hype. And
He's
then
not about that hype life anymore, though.
Mojo's kind of come down now because this match went a little long and the speech and Mojo's kind of look a little bit more like Paul Bearer. Oh, is this over yet? It's not Mojo. It's not.
Not by a long shot. Anyway, so the next match is for the United States Championship. That was Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton.
Vintage 2000.
Vintage Randy Orton.
Vintage WWF. Because this match is brought to you by the year 1999.
For all of you here for the Federation, man.
And they could have just gone into the archives and pulled off a Jeff Hardy Randy Orton match and played it.
Because it was very play by play. It was very
and I have issues with this. I know these are top guys they have, and these are two big veterans and fan favorites or whatever you want to call them. But you have a whole roster with up and comers, and some of them very, very good up and comers. And the best you can do is Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. And any fanboy or girl can go to their PS4, their Xbox or whatever and do this match and have gotten the same quality and everything I feel from it. And
he means from Raw versus SmackDown 2007, by the way. He means from that game specifically.
Yeah. I mean, anything. Because, I mean, these guys have been around a long time. And they're former world champions, and now they're fighting over the U.S. title. And it just feels very, I don't know. To me, it's a boring concept. It's a boring story because these guys should be putting others over at this stage. Mm-hmm. You know, if it was Jeff Hardy versus one of the other up and comers. It would be better, or Randy Orton versus, or Randy and Jeff, you know, a triple threat or a fatal four-way or something like that to get these guys over. Even if you do strap Jeff or Randy, it would be better in that regard to say, oh, well, look, you know, Apollo Crews is equal to Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
You know, he almost beat them. Oh, Apollo Crews' stake
he's
raises
a little bit more of a big deal. Yeah.
You know, it's just booking in general like that. It would make more sense in your long run because how long does Jeff Hardy have left? 6 months? 2 years? Nobody knows. Randy Orton, maybe a year. You know, I mean, really. I would say Randy Orton's a lot less than we expected it would be probably 2 years ago because now that he's married and happy and has a big family, I don't expect Orton to be around much longer.
He has no need for it.
I think that's why they gave him, you know, the U.S. title and doing this run with him because
it was a thank you.
Yeah, title he never had, like you said, and everything. So I don't expect Orton to be around much longer. So obviously these guys that aren't going to be around, you want to raise everybody else up, pick somebody else, and push them up the ladder. So yeah, I wasn't too thrilled about that match.
I don't think many people were.
Mojo's losing his smile.
So the second match or not second, but the shortest match, I guess I should say, was the one that was next. Can you guess what it was?
I don't even remember.
It was Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass.
Oh, yeah.
The closest to a squash in that it was...
I guess it was pretty short, actually, yeah. The interesting note about this match was apparently, we find out later on, Big Cass had this brilliant idea that when he had the midget on SmackDown, he'd do an extra beat down.
The crap out of him.
Just besides the big boot, beat up the midget. And he went to the producer. The producer was like, no, we don't have time for this. He went to Vince. And Vince was like, no, it's a bad idea. And
then he did
went
it
business
anyway.
For himself. And I have to agree with them on this. You know, if you want to sell the finish, you know, his finisher, which is the big boot, and you want Cass to look like a badass, then having him to continue to beat the guy down doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this situation.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah, so Cass kind of got in a little trouble this early in his return, so I'm wondering if that didn't play into the decision to have Brian win. Because I was really, I was really concerned about the outcome of this because Brian's just now back.
Yeah.
Cass is just back, and you would think that they would also want to push Big Cass with a big match and a big win on his return, especially since they were really high on him before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the closest thing to a monster heel that they've got. No, not only did Cass lose, he lost by submission. And I even noticed one point in the match where,
and he tapped out fast.
Kind of speaks volumes.
He tapped out fast.
It does speak volumes though to Cass's level of I don't really want to say ability, but just his ring awareness and what's
that
supposed to happen.
That ties in literally directly to ability.
But if you notice the finish, and Brian's trying to get him, and Brian reaches over and grabs his arm, Cass is supposed to be pulling away.
Yeah.
And Cass isn't, and Brian's like
trying to pretend like he's
no,
struggling.
Quit pulling my hand away.
Yeah.
And it was really obvious, and it looked really bad. And then Brian just locked it on. He was just like, okay, you're missing your spot.
We're just going to continue.
Yeah. And he pulled him in and slapped it together. And
Daniel Bryan carried that match is essentially what happened.
And I think they
and
jumped all over Cass.
I think we all knew that he was going to be the one carrying that match. I just don't think either of us anticipated that it was going to be to that extent, because it was very Daniel Bryan heavy as far as who was working that match the most.
The real problem here is this was, win or lose, this was Cass's chance to really shine.
And he blew it.
And he really did blow it. Like, he channeled his inner Enzo because he blew it. He really
soft.
did.
It
was soft. Yeah.
It was soft.
And, I mean, man, I just couldn't help but think, Cass, this is your big moment to at least be this generation's Sid Vicious. Who, like Sid or don't like Sid or don't think he was...
Sid is great.
Don't think he was that good in the ring. But Sid is a 6-time world champion.
Sid is also iconic in the wrestling industry. You ask anyone,
by far one of the greatest big men there has ever been in wrestling. And I mean, that's not a bad comparison or thing to strive for Cass, who is almost 7 foot tall.
And you can't teach that.
So
apparently you can, because he forced himself to grow.
So yeah, it's. Sorry, Cass, you blew it. I don't know. We'll see what they do from here.
We don't know what'll happen to in the future. Maybe
him and Enzo can get back together in prison and something. Start a group. I don't know.
Who can tell?
The softies or something.
Oof, let's calm down. Anyway, from one Enzo, former Enzo friend to another. The next match was Charlotte versus Carmella. In an interesting match.
Yeah.
Interesting in how they chose to structure it, considering the fact that Carmella in essence didn't cheat to win.
Right, which in that regard I was fine. It's like, to me though, it's like, if you're going to not have her cheat to win, they should have gotten over her submission hold.
Yeah.
To have said, like, look, this woman is on par with Charlotte, at least as far as she slaps this move on, it is over.
I think that the code of silence is pretty cool. It's not something that you see.
It's a great looking finisher.
And I think if there's anything that Carmella is good at, it's that.
Yeah.
She's really made it her own, and she really owns it in a way that she doesn't quite own a lot of other moves that are in her repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that I liked this match for what it was.
Carmella's a good heel.
I think people got annoyed at her for being so screechy and how much
That's
of it
kind of her gimmick,
was
though.
rest holds.
But
Which I actually am curious about, like how much of it was rest holds on purpose, because of, especially lately, we've seen a lot of the injuries that Charlotte's been dealing with or working through.
Since then, she has had quite a few injuries, and gosh, I don't expect we'll see Charlotte for.
I mean, she's working the rest of the European tour, and she's also in the Money in the Bank match.
She had a blowout.
She did.
Which, all right, I don't want to go on a rant here, but I do. So let me just try to keep it brief.
Yes.
WWE needs to quit pushing for their female wrestlers to get breast implants.
I agree.
I said it when Alexa Bliss, I don't know if they tried to be like, hey, it would be a good idea if you did this.
The Iconics both also got implants as well.
And I don't know if someone's suggesting it to further their career, if we're still at that stage in wrestling business, or if it's just implied, or that they're forced to feel this way. But it needs to stop. Because, I mean, for one, it looks ridiculous. It really does.
First off, for a company who's promoting so much of the women's evolution, it's completely hypocritical and a step backwards, because then the focus is yet again on the aesthetic appearance, and rather than
I get that is wrestling. A lot of it is
rather than actual technique and skill, which you see on some other people who, notably, as far as I know, don't appear to have gotten modified, namely Sasha Banks, Bayley, Ruby Riott, who for their own accounts are incredibly talented, and they don't I thought Alexa Bliss looked fine without. Yeah.
And you do want all shapes and sizes.
It's good to have that sort of representation, because then it reaches a lot of different demographics. Yeah, so the whole thing with Nia Jax, I'm sorry, I'm taking over this rant.
You are, but I mean, it's warranted, because I mean, even Mickey is a mom. Mickey is.
She's still in great shape
compared
to most people,
right? And I mean, they keep going back to that storyline with Mickey. Thank goodness she's healed now, so it doesn't get slapped in her face, because it always does when she's face.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
because that's all they can think of is
they really need to stop with that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons there too, because it is a health issue. Because Charlotte had a blowout, and I mean, it happened because
it happens because of the implants,
fake implants. And I mean, it wouldn't happen if there wasn't that.
There are several women who have been in wrestling that have had implants that have suffered that. Notably, of course, Chyna. I think blew up both.
I think Madison Rayne, same thing happened to her before on the Indies.
And I know
I want to say Victoria.
Trish had him removed after she retired from wrestling. Because it was more trouble than it was worth to her.
I don't know. I just thought this was silly that if we're saying we're this evolved for women's wrestling and we're pushing it, and they're really like, okay, the women are as good as the men and this and that, treat them that way.
Yeah.
Because
you gotta make dudes get pec implants?
Right.
Are you?
Butt implants, calf implants. I don't see them making Kofi get his chest fixed. You know what I'm saying? Kofi all ripped. He just has tore his pecs apart over the years and stuff. Jericho, looking at you, Jericho. You've made the list. You need to get your breasts done, dude. She's going to tell you when she goes on the cruise.
I will. I'll tell him to his face.
He's on the list of.
And then I'll get a lion tamer. And just
Great. Is going to be awesome.
I will try.
Jericho's foot on your face, smashing it away.
I would take a lion tamer. If I had the gall to say something like that to a person's face,
You do.
I would.
I've known
I
you
would.
for a while.
I know. But I mean, like, if I would expect a lion tamer in return. You know what I mean?
What? You're not even going to lion tame me?
I will.
You get back here, mister. I want a lion salt off on the deck.
Yeah.
Oh no, my God.
Just code
Jericho missed the... Oh, he's in the ocean. Oh, sweet Jesus. Where's Charlotte when we need a fake boob to toss out to save him?
Oh, hers aren't even the most egregious example. Anyway,
It's not. But, goddamn, seriously.
Yeah, this is something that both of us have very strong
Real-
feelings towards.
Real represents real.
The realest guys in the room. Ooh, never mind.
I'm going to do
Bad
it
form.
anyways.
Bad form.
I'm going to beat down the midget anyways.
Oh my god. All right.
Yeah.
But back to the match. So interesting in that in the finish of the match. Interesting because a lot of people speculate the reason why Carmella got to win in such a way is because of a possible fling relationship
Yes.
with a person who does have a decent amount of backstage clout and
Oh yeah.
center
Keep
stage
talking.
clout.
Keep talking. Don't give it away. Keep
So
talking.
it's interesting to see that now a lot of
Taking
things that we kind of questioned before are in some ways starting to make sense within that sort of context.
Who would have that much clout backstage?
I mean, there could be a couple of different people it could be,
Yeah.
but I think the most obvious example would be
What's on this side?
you gotta come on this side. There we go.
Alright. It's John Cena.
An interesting rumor that is
And I wonder if she did that like,
Rose.
oh yeah, I think I should win this match. And why do you think that? Because my boyfriend thinks I should win this match. I thought you and Cass were broke up. We don't care. It's John Cena! Yeah. John Cena walks in, there's music playing.
You know, Carmella's a very talented young
rumored.
lady.
Who knows? Really, it's rumored.
Do you remember that they've sort of been a rebound for each other after Carmella and Cass's relationship ended, and of course
Possibly.
after Nikki and John's relationship ended. So we have yet to see. There's been a couple other things that we will talk about in our review in this week in WWE. But
So
the next match was probably the most disappointing match. That was
that's
Styles
a lot.
Styles versus Nakamura.
Oh, you know, I really expect, like I had said, if Nakamura doesn't get it here, I
What's the
can't see
point?
him getting it because I didn't feel like this is going to keep going on. Like they would have to really do something to keep it going on. Obviously, that's what they thought too. They really have to do something to keep this match going on.
And what did they do?
And it was a double low blow
double
for a double count.
double countdown or in a no contest and no disqualification because both of them kicked each other in the balls at the same time, and neither of them could get up.
It seems ridiculous to have a no contest and then or a no DQ and have a no contest in that. Like you would think that both men would have to be like blood drained and just neither could get back to their feet after fighting so hard. But it was just a super double low blow. Allison, don't do that. Allison, don't do that. Parenting never stops. Unlike writing in WWE, which stops immediately, like after 5 minutes.
Abruptly.
It was really which is sad because this match should have gone on last. Honestly,
I mean,
it was
it's
for the
the
WWE
title.
title. It should have gone on last, and it should have been a good contest.
I was stunned,
And
in fact,
both
that
guys are
that
so
match-
much better than this.
Didn't even go on second to last. There were 2 matches after it.
Yeah, because they had to have a cool down.
Which
Fans
was,
would've
of
been
course...
pissed, and it didn't matter because the fans were pissed already.
Yeah.
They really were. It was a bad show.
So the next match that we're going to talk about for that is Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Sammy and Kevin are great. Braun, has won over the crowd. Bobby Lashley is boring as hell. I really don't know what to say about this. I mean, Lashley has come on and they've really been pushing him.
And it's unfortunate.
Like he's Superman, and at this stage, I don't think...
I mean, he was better in Impact.
That's really sad, though. And because on Impact, it always felt like they were trying to emulate Brock Lesnar in so many ways. But it really...
Well, they're trying to do that here, too, except they also have Brock Lesnar.
Well,
so it takes a lot of the shine
on a lot of
out.
levels, I feel like Vince has reunited with an old crush. And because the fans are kind of, they don't like Roman. Like, it's taken them this 3 years or whatever to get this through their head. Like, apparently...
This ratings thing isn't working.
Yeah, the experiment has failed. I wonder. And they're like, maybe we don't have to strap Roman now. And the fans seem to kind of have this thing against him. It's like it's really taken you guys 3 years of every arena in the world booing him out. Even Saudi Arabia. Boo. Before you go, oh, maybe this wasn't a good idea. And then here comes Bobby Lashley, and Vince is like, "Oh, how have you been, Bobby?" And it's starting to feel like, it's starting to feel like Bobby Lashley is getting that Roman Reigns push because it's just the minor things, like him not selling particularly everything that everybody else would sell, and acting like Superman, and them tagging him onto Braun Strowman, which I find peculiar because Strowman is so over and Lashley is not. I mean, the younger fans probably don't even remember Bobby Lashley. It's been quite some time.
It's been over a decade.
Yeah.
I want to say.
So, I don't know. I mean, they could have built Bobby Lashley up in a lot of ways instead of just tossing him out there. And then
I think they see, how organically Braun Strowman got over. And it's like, well, let's hitch this wagon.
Yeah, and it's just, that's not how you do it. Sorry, it's just not how you do it in wrestling. And you would think that a company that's been around literally forever would know this, unless other people were doing all the work all those years instead of Vince.
Yeah.
That's what Fuji always said. Just gonna throw that out there.
Just sprinkle that on top.
Fuji represent.
He's from here. Yeah. He's an OG.
So yeah, it further along the Sammy and Kevin storyline.
By having them kind of go in and out of Sammy going, we don't need this, let's just go, and Kevin going, no, we stay and we fight.
It's interesting, like they're gonna do that big flip, maybe, who knows?
Which I'm excited for because I've been wanting. I don't know if you've seen my shirt, Sammy. But I've been wanting a role reversal between the two of them, where this guy over here is the face, and this guy over here is the heel.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great, like, if it happens, and then in one of Kevin's matches, say Kevin gets a title shot, and then Sammy comes out with a mask on and interferes, and he's like, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't even wear a mask, Kevin.
I don't do that.
It's my cousin." Anyway, so yeah, Bobby Lashley won.
Yeah.
Had the pinfall.
He did. He certainly did.
Via stall suplex. Same stall suplex everybody starts chanting boring with every week. And that's what won the match.
Sure did.
It looked awful, too. Muscled up, superhuman Bobby Lashley could not lift 260-pound Kevin Owens in the air. So... They tried to save it with some Braun Strowman power slams at the end.
They did. But what's
I
done
feel
was
bad for
in
Braun
fact already done.
because they really used Braun really crappy since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
WrestleMania on it's just been let's cool off Braun.
But Braun has been so like
he's so humble.
yeah, he's so gracious about it that he any time he gets anything he gets is he's just like, I'm just so happy that I got this opportunity to do this, and I'm honored to be the first greatest Royal Rumble winner, and I'm just so proud of doing this and so glad that I got a chance to be part of this, and that is like
it's really his saving grace
fantastic.
that he's so patient and he is very humble that he's just there, and so I think that'll
and he's
serve
willing
him in the long run.
to work.
Yeah, and that will definitely come good things in his future with that.
I sure hope so, because he deserves it. He's put in the time.
So now
Put in work.
Time for the main event, I believe.
It is, of course, our guy Samoa Joe.
The face comes out. Boo! The heel comes out. Yeah! Joe. Which, of course, as everybody knows, that's how wrestling's supposed to be. No, wait. No, that's not it.
What?
No, it's the opposite. You're supposed to cheer the faces and boo the heels is what's natural. Not what happened here.
Not what usually happens whenever Joe's in this. I love Joe.
I do too.
He's a fantastic heel. The rest of my family hates him.
Because he's a fantastic heel.
Because he's a fantastic heel. But, God, do us smarks love him. He's just...
Well, I love him as a heel. I do.
I do too.
And
I think he does some of his best work as a heel.
Joe's great. He's great on the mic, and I think he's only gotten better. And I felt very sorry for him watching this match. I was really happy that a small "Joe's going to kill you" chant broke out. Yeah. Because I've been waiting for that. They haven't really hit the WWE audience yet.
Yeah, they've done it in NXT, but they've kind of shied away from it in main roster WWE.
But I was happy to hear that. But I felt really bad for Joe because Joe's in the ring and he knows. Joe's worked all over the place, so he knows what the crowd needs at any particular moment.
Yeah.
And he's in there and he's doing what he's supposed to be doing according to what they've told him. And I got the gist behind what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
They were trying. Someone had a bright idea. Oh, we're going to do this match, and we're going to build a typical matchup. I can hear the producer saying, you go out there and you beat Roman down and you let the fans get behind him and
you hit these XYZ points.
And it was like a stereotypical, match dynamics that you would do in a normal situation where the fans actually like the face. That would work. The fans hate Roman. Therefore, it did not work at all.
It was a misfire.
I thought it was a bad idea that they started hot and then did all the cool off.
Yeah.
Joe put him through the table. The fans are hyped. They want to see Roman get his ass kicked. And he throws him in the ring. And he starts doing rest holds to make it appear like Roman's going to be hurt. And if you look at, say, Rude versus Steamboat or Flair versus Steamboat or something like that, it would be the typical kind of match that you would see where, you're like, oh, the face is going to get injured and, is Steamboat going to tap? Is Flair going to make Steamboat tap out? Is he going to lose? But the fans don't care. They want him to lose. So they're not going to cheer Roman on to, get up, And it was awkward because Joe's choking him down and everything, and the fans are just kind of like, this is boring now. We want to see him thrown through more tables.
Yeah.
We want blood. And so Joe's cutting promos in the middle of the ring, basically.
Yeah.
Trying just to do something, but he can't go off of what's been booked.
Because then he'll get the shit for it.
Yeah. And if this was an indie match, I'm sure they would have done things differently. Joe would have brought out a table or whatnot, but you could just read it on his face. That
he was just it was really sort of wearing on him that he had probably a million ideas of how to fix this, and he couldn't do any of them.
And to me it was just I felt really bad. You could see it on Joe's face, and
There's only so much he can save.
You know, it's that kind of moment where I wonder, like, if his head, does he feel like a sellout? Because he's at the top place.
Oh,
He's making the money.
That would I can't imagine how much that would kill him.
Because, I mean, really, if you look at guys like Joe and Brian and AJ, who've been indie guys for so long, and they end up going to WWE because WWE is the top. That's where you make your money.
Yeah.
No matter how long you stay, no matter what they do with you in your career, you're going to make your money in WWE. That's why Zack Ryder's still there. He's WWE for life. Zack Ryder could be Paul Roma the rest of his career, and he would be happy because he's going to be bringing in $300,000-$400,000 a year, and he's set. Instead of going to TNA for
Quarter of that much.
oh
It's a sticker.
yeah. So a lot of other guys, they would go and they take it. Like Cody, he made his money and he's ready to invest and go enjoy wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. He's making even more.
And he's found a way to make it work for him financially as well as you know.
And then you have Daniel Bryan
fulfilling.
who went to WWE because hey, wrestling you can get hurt and insurance costs money.
Yeah.
And so there's that aspect as well. So yeah, I wonder like what Joe was really
Daniel
in
Bryan
his head.
was different in that he was able to change a lot more of the game.
Yeah.
Just based on how purely talented he was and how much people were
Which was unpredictable. Nobody
were
could have
able to get
predicted
behind
that's,
him. Yeah.
You know, what would have
the
happened.
next sticker?
Can I have it?
Sure.
It looks like a lizard.
So
Let me put it on my phone.
I wouldn't say the match
Thank
was
you.
horrible in the regard that Joe really was winning until the very poorly booked spear out of nowhere.
You gotta pull out.
And this was really they've been booking this with Brock Lesnar.
Just stick it to your daddy.
If oh god. Hill. You Hill.
It's just gonna stick to the hair on your arm.
It is too.
You're not even gonna feel it on your arm.
Yeah, you know, we see Brock Lesnar like we get beat down and just do an F5 out of nowhere to win. That was the ending of this match. Spear out of nowhere. And I was pissed. Pay-per-view sucked. I don't know how this one felt. I did that short 6-minute rant.
You did. I think overall, to me, it was a downer. Mostly because of the fact that there was so much hype behind it. As far as this is
Look at all the hair
co-branded.
that's there.
Good. I'll just leave this here.
Leave it right
I hope it stays.
Hope
I hope it
too.
stays. Thanks, Trish. But I felt like there was so much that they could have done here that they opted not to do.
Ugh.
They just didn't pull the trigger on so many things that could have.
Vince, pull the trigger. I don't care which way you take that.
Just seriously, there were so many really disappointing moments.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. This video is already like an hour long, so
Yeah.
we're gonna cut this short.
Yeah.